Brian Daboll, another offensive coordinator in high demand. According to Diana Rossini, Philadelphia is conducting their OC search with the understanding that Daboll wants the Buffalo Bills job. Now, if he doesn't get that, and maybe he doesn't want to go into that messy cauldron over there, he could go to Tennessee as their offensive coordinator for Robert Saleh. Colin, if Mike McDaniel and Brian Daboll do not want to work with Sirianni and Hurts, what does that tell you about Philadelphia right now?
Well, Philadelphia is a hard place to coach, and it's certainly a hard place. It feels like, to me, Sirianni has escaped the criticism. I mean, so Sirianni sits there because he's got a trophy, and when you get the job, nobody talks about Sirianni. They're not going to talk about Vic Fangio, who's great. The offensive coordinator is getting ripped for hours, regardless of who it is. He's taken all the arrows. So to me, it's like, time out. You can all see that Sirianni is totally reliant on coordinators. How about he gets the criticism, not the coordinator? So to me, I think it's probably the toughest coordinator job in the NFL is the Philadelphia Eagles, a very loud franchise where you and I've said this before, is I still don't know if Sirianni, if he was available to the market today as a head coach, would people be lined up like they were for Stefanski? Or I don't think they would. I could be wrong. So
where does it, like some people are offense, some people are defense. Harbaugh was a special teams guy famously. I don't know what Sirianni is.
He's an offensive guy.
Oh, goodness gracious. It's almost as if people are crafting viewpoints on a subject they are not even fully informed about at this juncture. Look, Zane, the notion that those coaches have no desire to be in Philadelphia is rather ridiculous. It's nonsensical, and attempts to insert a storyline that simply isn't there. It's obvious that Brian Daboll would aspire to be the head coach working with Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills, correct? Then consider the opportunity to go to Tennessee to mentor a young first overall draft pick and shape his development. I assure you, from a coaching standpoint, that prospect is highly appealing. All right? Furthermore, you have the chance to construct something from the ground up there, and he would wield absolute authority over that offensive system. He would have total command of that offense. He would function as the offensive head coach in a manner he might not necessarily be able to in Philadelphia. Additionally, if we're discussing someone like Mike McDaniel, he has the prospect of collaborating with Justin Herbert and Jim Harbaugh out in California. Yes, that is also a difficult offer to refuse, along with receiving an enormous salary. So these considerations are logical. All right, it is not a condemnation of the Philadelphia Eagles, Jalen Hurts, or Nick Sirianni. Just to be perfectly clear, there's also the prospect for these coaches to earn a championship ring that they themselves secured. Whereas, if a coach steps into Philadelphia, that's not necessarily the scenario. You're inheriting a squad that already captured a Super Bowl. If you win one here, it would represent GM Howie Roseman's third Super Bowl ring and Nick Sirianni's second. It carries a slightly different significance if you go to the Titans and win, or the Chargers and win, or the Bills and win. Therefore, you must genuinely comprehend the context surrounding all this. Ultimately, these individuals seek influence. They want authority. Mike McDaniel will possess all the offensive authority. Harbaugh is essentially indicating he desires this head coach to oversee the offensive side. Brian Daboll would undoubtedly receive that in Tennessee, and naturally as the actual head coach in Buffalo. So that actually aligns perfectly. Now, if you're an Eagles supporter, it's disappointing because you wanted a Brian Daboll, you wanted a Mike McDaniel, and now the sole other seemingly viable coordinator, not an up-and-comer, but an established, experienced, and genuinely good to excellent one, is Cliff Kingsbury, though everyone seems to keep waffling on him. I am an admirer of Cliff. He wouldn't be my primary choice for the Eagles, however. I would prefer a Brian Daboll. But Sirianni is the intriguing element here, and this is also what's frustrating. He claims that Sirianni is evading responsibility. No, he is not. If you believe people aren't heavily criticizing Sirianni, then you are not observing closely. You are not paying attention. And I've got news for you. If there's any reason Sirianni is attracting any form of criticism, particularly in the media, it's because you spent months attempting to blame Saquon Barkley for being fatigued, A.J. Brown for being a diva, and Jalen Hurts for being a poor quarterback, rather than examining the coaching perspective. You were asserting the Eagles perform better when they pass less because Jalen Hurts isn't proficient. But then remark, oh, Raheem Morris is a brilliant mind. He doesn't require Drake May to pass frequently. He only wants him attempting 22-23 throws per game. And it's like, oh, it's positive when Drake May does it, but negative when Jalen Hurts does it. Understood. Week after week after week, there was a continual effort to focus on how Saquon Barkley simply isn't the same, how Jalen Hurts is the issue, how he's not a skilled quarterback, how A.J. Brown is a diva. Whereas in any of these other situations, the emphasis was always on the coach. The focus was on the coach. But that's not the engaging narrative in Philadelphia. That's not the captivating story. So, yes, I am intrigued to witness what the Eagles undertake. I hear others suggesting, oh, they should acquire Doug Peterson. You know, you desire someone capable of operating an offense. You genuinely do when you observe some of the elements a Mike McDaniel can execute. The style of offenses you would wish to see Jalen Hurts manage. You know, these condensed formations, these rapid progressions. I'm uncertain. There remains a significant element of this Philadelphia Eagles offense that could be unleashed, but you simply require the correct coach. You just need the appropriate coach. And you know, I don't know who that is at this moment. Frequently, it's effortless to simply select and identify the Brian Dabolls, the Mike McDaniels of the world. And yes, certainly. But occasionally, it's that passing game coordinator for Sean McVay or similar. Yet sometimes that isn't the solution either. That isn't the answer either. So that's where you must trust the thorough research and the vision of the franchise, which is somewhat challenging when they just appointed Kevin Patullo. Furthermore, you have some fans who still attempt to pretend that the coordinator in 2023 was secretly a competent coordinator, but Sirianni was the one creating issues there. And it's like, okay, whatever you say. That still appears to be a lingering belief among some that he is actually secretly a superb coordinator. And that's why he secured another prominent coordinating position in the NFL presently, correct? That's why he obtained another role and is succeeding in managing an offense, and everyone is discussing him landing a head coaching job this cycle. Except they're not. Except they're not. Thus, the Eagles employed 2 inadequate coordinators. That's simply a fact. But then they also hired 2 exceptional coordinators in Shane Steichen and Kellen Moore. So, you're 2 for 4. You're batting .500 currently. If you can exceed .500 now, you're in an excellent position. But those are merely my perspectives. I would absolutely adore hearing yours. What do you all think regarding the Philadelphia Eagles and their offensive coordinator search? How do you believe they should manage this? What do you think they should aim to accomplish? What other coaching candidates do you think might be available? And this is why everyone kept inquiring of me, oh, who do I believe they should hire? And I responded, it's simply impossible to know who is accessible. It's just impossible to know who is available. And that's what we're truly witnessing now. But let me know your thoughts. I read every single comment, whether you concur with me or dispute me. Either way, let's engage in some discussions, let's engage in some debates. But ultimately, let's simply enjoy ourselves. And please do consider subscribing. We're cultivating an incredible community here and would absolutely relish seeing you as part of it. I want to establish something we all generally feel linked to, something we're truly enthusiastic about being part of. I think we're well on our path to accomplishing it. Please don't neglect to give this video a thumbs up. It genuinely assists with visibility and the algorithm. Thank you very much.